A beloved, spiritual leader has left, and now a new chapter must begin. But, have you ever wondered how the new pope is chosen? It's not just a vote, it's a sacred ritual wrapped in centuries of tradition, mystery, and divine symbolism. With the passing of Pope Francis just days ago, eyes from around the world have turned to the Vatican, waiting for white smoke to rise again. But what happens in between? Who votes? And what's the process? In this video, we'll take you behind the scenes of one of the oldest and most secretive elections on Earth, the process of choosing the next pope. The seat becomes vacant. When a pope dies, the Catholic Church enters a state called sede vacante, which in Latin means, the seat is vacant. The pope is not just a spiritual figure, he also leads the Vatican City as a head of state. So, everything slows down. During this time, all major administrative actions are put on hold. The Apostolic Palace, where the Pope lived, is sealed by the Camerlengo, one of the Vatican's top officials. He confirms the Pope's death with an ancient ritual, calling the Pope's baptismal name 3 times. If there is no response, he declares the seat vacant. The Pope's ring of the fisherman, a symbol of his authority, is broken to prevent forgeries. Meanwhile, preparations begin for the most sacred event in Catholic tradition, the election of a new pope. Who gets to vote? Only specific people can choose the next pope. These are the cardinals of the Catholic Church who are under 80 years of age. These men wear red robes and are among the highest-ranking clergy in the Church. Currently, there are just over 100 such cardinals, spread across different continents. Once notified, they all travel to Rome, summoned to the Vatican, leaving behind their countries and responsibilities. They gather inside the Sistine Chapel, a sacred space famous for Michelangelo's paintings. Here's where it gets interesting. They are completely locked in. No phones, no internet, no communication with the outside world. It's called the Conclave, which literally means, with a key. The goal? To pray, reflect, and vote, until they agree on one name who will become the next leader of 1.3 billion Catholics. Inside the conclave, once the conclave begins, each cardinal writes the name of the person they believe should be pope on a small rectangular ballot. The process is done in deep silence and solemnity. Each ballot is read aloud and tallied by 3 designated cardinals. If no candidate receives at least a 2/3 majority, the vote is considered inconclusive. What happens next is very symbolic. Those ballots are burned in a special stove along with a chemical that produces black smoke. This smoke rises through a chimney above the Sistine Chapel. When the crowd outside sees black smoke, they understand, a new pope has not yet been chosen. This process repeats over and over again, often for days. Repeated voting and the white smoke. The cardinals can vote up to 4 times each day, 2 rounds in the morning, and 2 in the afternoon. These rounds continue until one candidate finally receives a 2/3 majority. This can take days or even weeks, and has in the past. When that moment finally comes, the atmosphere changes completely. The ballots are burned again, but this time, the smoke turns white. White smoke means success. It means a new pope has been elected. The crowd in St. Peter's Square erupts with joy. Bells ring throughout Vatican City. Media outlets rush to broadcast the news. But there's still one final step. The moment of acceptance. The cardinal, who received enough votes, is taken aside and asked one simple but powerful question. Do you accept your election as Supreme Pontiff? If he accepts, he chooses a new name, usually inspired by a former pope, or a saint, whose legacy he wishes to honor. This name becomes his identity as the new leader of the Church. He then changes into the white papal robes and prepares for his first appearance before the world. Habemus Papam, we have a pope. Finally, a cardinal walks onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica and announces to the crowd in Latin, Habemus Papam, we have a pope. Moments later, the new pope appears before the world. He raises his hand, gives a blessing, and speaks to the people for the very first time. It's a moment filled with emotion, for the Church and for millions watching around the world. A tradition that still shapes the world. The papal election is a fascinating mix of history, secrecy, and spirituality. While the modern world moves fast, this ancient process remains rooted in tradition, unchanged for centuries. It reminds us that no matter how digital our lives become, there are still some places where silence, prayer, and ritual rule. And in that silence, the fate of the Catholic Church, and the guidance of over 1 billion people, is decided. The next time you see white smoke rise above the Vatican, you'll know the story behind it.